Hello, my name is Alan, and today I'm facilitating the seventh and last session of Uncharted Worlds. We're using the most recent draft of some of the second edition rules, kind of padded out with some stuff from first edition and some filler material where I couldn't find anything. We are playing within a cluster of stars, an isolated cluster of stars. And we've traveled around quite a lot of them, actually, one way or another. But you want to know more about the setup, go back to episode 1 and follow us all the way through. This game, like most of my games, is organized through, not the last story, it's just starting, the finale of the first season. I think the cluster could run and run. This game was organized as part of the Gauntlet RPG community's monthly calendar. If you don't know about the Gauntlet, please search Gauntlet-RPG and come play with us. This weekend is actually one of our Gauntlet community open gaming weekends to introduce people to the idea of playing online and playing, a variety of different games. So, but yeah, look us up. We are playing with a set of safety tools, so we're playing with lines and veils and the X card and the open door, and stars and wishes. I always think are also something of a safety tool. But I'm not going to say any more about that because the players have been through that spiel plenty of times, and we want to get on with our finale. So with that in mind, I will simply say my pronouns are he, him, and I will go left to right on the character keeper, starting. Pavel, say hello, tell us about your pronouns, and introduce us to Harper Shuashot Wilkerson.
Hello, good morning or good afternoon. I'm Pavel, and I'm playing Harper. We use pronoun he, him. Harper is a space cowboy from Future, Space Corporation R&D, the worst and the best place to come from. Last time we have seen Harper kind of surprised by everything around him, exploring the inside of the planet and hacking some really old ships to prevent a whole squad of Marines to waking up and taking us on. So
yeah, we found kind of what might be described as some kind of ship graveyard inside the planet. Is that too strong a word? With ships left over from, logically then, I should next go to Joe, because those ships relate to Joe's backstory. So Joe, say hello, tell us about your pronouns, and introduce us to Gemma, or Azrael, as the case may be.
Good morning, afternoon. My name is Joe, he, him. I'm playing Gemma, or Azrael, as we found out, who is some sort of a super soldier from a Spartan-like society of soldier mercenary folk. And as Pavel was indicating, we, through all of our shenanigans and exploitations, we have come across an ancient, ship of her culture that had been lost, and all of the soldiers and crew had been frozen or put into stasis or whatever. And while attempting to prevent, we did not prevent the waking up of many of those soldiers. And now I believe we are loosely aligned in attempting to escape from where we are right now. I think that's fairly fair to say, loosely aligned.
Yeah, that's fair. You boarded the cruiser Magnificent, this several hundred-year-old lost ship from your civilization. And yes, the crew is now awake. The ship is functioning, and has allowed you to investigate this enormous city ship that you've also discovered in this strange space in a planet. Who knows? It's just a big empty space. Let me go then last to Gray. Say hello, tell us about your pronouns, and introduce us to Riley Perihelion.
Hi, my name is Gray. I use they, them pronouns, and I'm playing Riley Perihelion, who used to be a famous science broadcaster, and is completely preoccupied with the science or pseudoscience surrounding slipstream travel and how it happens, which in a way led to us being in our current location, as they could not resist investigating a strip sleeve-esque phenomenon that landed us in this place.
Indeed, and what is interesting, I've marked a third box on your slip matter study. I think it will be possible to mark another one of those in play today, because I'm conscious we lost a session last week because of some preoccupations I had. So it seems to me that if you can find a fictionally reasonable way to investigate something that might mark that fourth box, then you will have a sufficient understanding of slip matter to mark that project as complete. Because this city ship in this inside planet space, this place, the material it's made out of is strongly reminiscent of the material that the ring gates, that the slip gates that connect the planet to the cluster together, and indeed the particle, the slip matter particle that you found loose in a system not so long ago. You will see from the picture behind Pavel and behind me that the inside of the city ship has a distinctly organic sense to it. We left last time with you having boarded the city ship using your breaching pod, cut a hole in the surface and clambered through in your exosuits. And that's about where we left it. So let me begin by, I have to ask Riley, because I'm kind of imagining that inside your helmet, your eyes are on stalks. But so Riley, what do we see you doing as we start this episode?
So I think I am constantly distracted from wherever the main group is trying to go, as I wander up and go, ooh, this wall, look at these striations. This strongly suggests that the growth pattern of the pseudocrystalline medium
that works for me. Because yeah, I mean, it's asking a lot just to spin a lot of sciencey stuff off the top of your head. So yeah, I think it is fair to say that your description there, I think, is pretty close to it. It does look like it has accreted, has grown, rather than having been bolted together the way that your ships are constructed. So this is entirely outside cluster technology. There's no question about that. Let's go to Gemma next. What is Gemma? What do we see Gemma doing? What is Gemma thinking?
Yeah, so I think Gemma would, first thing they would do is kind of sort of the securing of the area, right? So doing that sort of checking, you know, I think we're in like a corridor, right? That yeah, whatever.
Yeah. I mean, I think we went for, you have arrived in the corridor behind Pavel. So that is I think the perfect description of where you currently are.
Okay, so yeah, they are just doing that sort of like checking out all of the, you know, up and down the corridor, you know, securing, and also kind of just, you know, I think all of us would be a little bit, you know, like looking at this is very alien, right? I mean, and I'm not alien to us, right?
Yeah, small alien at this point.
Yeah, so, you know, yeah, so just the also, you know, kind of, you know, taken in by the strangeness of it and the organicness of it. And you know, so just kind of keeping their eyes open for what's going on around us.
I think as you're doing that, securing the scene kind of thing, you know, I think it's fair to say that there is debris, and you know, if you examine some of this material, it kind of breaks off. It's quite crumbly, and it's clear that there is a degree. Some of this is kind of scattered around the floor, so it has the feeling of being pretty derelict, I think, is your first impression, and that maybe reassures Gemma. I don't know. What about you, Harper? What do we see you doing, or what are you thinking?
Harper is fascinated by this place, but not by every detail like Riley. Harper is fascinated, like see it all. And like, so he like runs forward, checks what's down this corridor, looks through this window, to see what's there. Because he's like fascinated in like taking it in seeing it all. And yeah, he also realizes that we are sort of on a timetable, at least limited by the amount of air we took with us. So yeah, he looks around trying to find, are there like any indications like which way to go? Because we are obviously not where we wanted to go, which is so surprising. So he like looks around, are there some signs, whatever alien signs, maybe not writing, and be like colors, hard to say, you know?
That's an interesting question. And I suppose maybe you look back to Riley in the terms of, well, we're here now, where are we going? Because I think the objective was to see whether this might give you any information about how you can get out of this space, because you know that a couple of ships have been in here for centuries.
Yes. Exactly. So yeah, seeing that he cannot like find the control panel, Harper comes back to Riley. So an ideas like, where do we find it?
So many ideas. Right. Yes. Sorry, I could spend weeks just studying this one pile of rubble. All right. Well, let me just take a sample of this for later. And yeah, I would have.
Have you got both the drones with you? The hazmat
Yes.
and the hazmat to kind of store samples, and the AV droid drone to just record the wonder. So Riley, I am curious. What do you? I mean, apart from just studying it, do you have a specific objective now you're here?
So obviously, I do also want to help figure out how to get us out of this strange place. But I am also very interested in how this structure was produced and what that means for the slip gates and how they got here.
Okay. This sounds like analyze and decipher the scene. Yeah, seek an opportunity, roll with mind.
Right. Can I use examine for this?
Oh, of course, yes, you have a character. Yeah, absolutely. I beg your pardon. That makes much more sense. Thank you.
All right. I guess. So it seems like tech or structures. I guess I need to use hardware here.
Yeah, I think so.
Cool. All righty. Oof.
Wow. Okay. So that is a miss, unless you've got an awful lot of bonus sitting somewhere. The GM reveals a harmful truth about the subject. So you were, which of those questions? Pick one of those lines of questionings, and I will elaborate.
I think I am interested in its cause or origin.
Okay, and I think its cause or origin. I think its origin then. This material looks biological rather than technological, is I think the first thing I would give you. And it does feel as though there is a degree to which this material is laid down in a spiral. And I suppose that the logic would be follow the spiral to some center location. Yeah. So with that in mind, I think that you begin to proceed along the corridor that we can see behind Pavel there. And it does begin to spiral. And you enter a bit of tunneling that is not quite as derelict, perhaps more like what's behind me, in as much as it feels the material is not as brittle, and there are panels that are giving off some degree of bioluminescence. So you've been walking for about 20 minutes when you begin to find this less derelict part of the structure. Gemma, are you, how are you and Harper organized? Is Harper using his kind of infiltrate-y stealth abilities to be on point and you're bringing up the rear? Or are you taking point? I'm just curious, what's your approach here?
I think I want to say that everything we've learned is that we probably can't contain Harper's excitement. So he's probably buzzing around a little bit more on point. I think that's probably and that Gemma is kind of, I think bringing up the rear might be the right place, given that Pavel likes to, or Harper likes to, it feels like the right arrangement there.
Fine.
So you're saying also, I was just wondering, so it might be fair to say, and I'm going to ask this question, is that the ship that we're in, that where we're moving into feels like it's more alive maybe than where we've been. Is potentially, like, that's what it sounds like, that
might well be what Gemma is thinking. Yes.
Okay.
So Harper, let's put you on point. And I think this is recon, gain information, and scout a layout. So I think I'd like to have you roll to infiltrate, please. To sneak into an area without drawing attention, roll plus precision. I've got that fail of Riley's just sitting on the shelf over there, by the way.
Yes, I know.
Oh, look, and there's another one.
Yes, I'm really trying to force you to use it now.
Yes, yes. Well, let's not hang about then. So honestly, you're in, but you're detected before you do anything. Retribution is on its way. What do you do when something drops from the ceiling onto your back, Harper?
I think this is the moment where we see like all these images from the space dramas, like it must be some alien creature, like it will try to eat me alive or like burn from my suit. And so he's like frantically, oh, help me, there is something. Oh my God, help me, yes.
Riley, you're behind Harper. I mean, I'm guessing that Harper is 10, 15 paces ahead on point. But this just dropped out of the ceiling onto his back. I would describe it as multi-legged. I would say it was about half man-sized, if such a measure exists, and has wrapped its arms around him. What do you do, Riley?
I think I'm going to see if I'm going to run up to where Harper is. And if I can, I'm going to try and like grab the cryo pistol off of Harper's belt and use it on this creature.
Okay. So you're running towards it. Gemma, you will see this in this kind of dim red bioluminescence. Riley is already in motion. What do you do?
I think they're going to also run up to help. If I was thinking pull it off of, but seeing Riley grab the cryo, I'm just gonna Gemma's just gonna come up to help try to get it off of however we see fit.
Let's see how that. So Riley will act first, and then I'll ask you again. How, depending on how this goes. So I think that this is agility to grab that pistol. Roll plus precision, please, Riley. Oh, you are muted.
Sorry, my precision is 0.
Oh my goodness me, that is 3 threes in succession. Yeah, I mean, Harper is kind of trying to, just prizing these things off. He's moving about. It's just impossible.
This is not Riley's strong suit.
No. Harper, let's see if you've had any success in trying to prize some of these limbs free. Let's have you roll. This sounds like might or violence. Roll with force.
Let's do it. Trying to.
If this comes up 3, I'm going. Oh my good God, that's a 2.
We are. That's a snake eyes.
Okay, I right. So you've had no success, and in fact, I think one of these has just punctured your suit. So there's that kind of slight hips, and we will see, because it's more effective that way, if we see the little dial on the front of your suit just begin to go. Yeah, exactly. Just begin to count down. I am going to put 2 new dice up, okay? Because I cannot bring myself. I mean, I'm going to run out of imagination for what we can do with these fails in a moment. So there we go. There's 2 fresh dice, which I will stress just came up as 5s, and a 6. So I hope that hasn't used up all the successes to these new dice. And that's when, Gemma, you arrive on the scene.
Okay, so I was going to ask a clarifying question, but I think the puncturing of the suit has, and they would probably hear that, right? That's a pretty telltale. Would Gemma know that the suit has been punctured, or that it's?
Oh, I think, I mean, I can't imagine Harper is entirely silent inside that helmet at this point.
Okay.
Get the fucking thing off me!
I was trying to debate whether I try to get it, like grab it off, or like try to kill it or whatever with their knife, because that, but it feels like the puncturing. I guess I'm trying to decide whether if it may not be. We may be misinterpreting its actions, but I think that they are going to try to kill it with. They're going to use their little their blade that they have to. We're coming up behind, and it's kind of on him. They're just going to try to kill it and wrench it off of Harper.
Is this about cutting its legs off, or kind of stabbing it?
I think stabbing it.
Okay, let's have you roll. That's combat, isn't it? When you pick off your foe, when you demolish foes with violence. That's what this sounds like. Roll with force.
All right. So we'll break these new dice in.
Oh no, that's impossible. That's a 3. That's surreal.
Yeah.
I'm going to create a new dice room in a moment, because this is just not on. When you do that, you do stab it, and one of the legs seems to pivot and punctures your suit as well.
Excellent.
But at least that now is that's one less limb holding Harper. But bear with me a moment. I'm going to create a new dice room, because this is just odd. There we go. Let's start with that again. Visual dice table. I won't give it any posh names. I will put the link in the Zoom chat. There you go, and set up a couple of dice. Which is at least a mixture of dice, a 6, a 1, and a 1. Okay, because that is just too much. That is 6 fails on the roll, or on the trot. That's just madness. I will now regret it, because you won't fail again from now on. But that's so, Riley, this is all going horribly pear-shaped. And that's when the AV droid, because of course I have so many fails to play with now. I haven't even used the one that I had on the shelf for you. And the droid is picking up vibration. Maybe it's the hazmat droid that's more likely to pick that up. Is picking up vibration in the walls of this corridor, this passageway. coming towards you from the direction you were heading. So something is moving up this. There's movement on the motion scanner. Yeah, if I could be bothered, I'd get my kind of beep, 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 beep up, but I think probably not. So there is something else coming, Riley. That's your fail dealt with. I've dealt with Harper's, and I've also dealt with Gemma's. So we are even Stevens at this point. What are you going to do, Riley? Because the other two are busy.
I'll take a quick look up ahead to see if I can see what's coming. But if not, I think I need to take another swing at trying to get this thing off my friends.
Well, I mean, you can always dispatch the AV droid. Just
I'll send it up ahead a little bit to
vaguely spiraling. So I think it's coming around that curve. It wouldn't have to go far to be able to see around the curve. And we've not talked about, but I'm guessing something pops up on the screen on your faceplate, just as a little insert of what the AV droid is seeing. And I would describe it as an enormous maggot, kind of up the corridor towards you, and it pretty much fills the corridor.
Well, that doesn't sound like something we want to meet.
But it's at least not traveling immensely quickly. And the sense you get, no, I tell you what, it's moving away from you. That's better. It's moving away from you. And there are a number of these kind of multi-limbed creatures behind it, apparently collecting stuff from its anus. I'll leave you with that. In your faceplate. And so what do you do with that information once the AV droid sends that up to you? Or do you get on with trying to help Harper and Gemma?
Yeah, I think, well, we might want to investigate or be careful about that situation later. I think I need to take another swing at helping my friends.
Okay, so is this grabbing for the freezer gun or something, or what are you going to
do? I think. Well, that didn't really work for me before. Now this thing is like sort of splayed out between the two of them with its arms. So maybe I can just sort of find some large object and take a whack at the part of it in the middle.
Yeah, because I'm just wondering what you're going to whack it with, really.
Yeah, I guess there's less debris in this part of the tunnel.
Yeah, well, that was in the kind of derelict bit. There's not really a lot of debris hanging around here. I tell you what, though, we did in the fiction, we do know that the hazmat droid has some manipulators.
That's true. Yeah, maybe I'll try.
Use the blowtorch from the kit. Oh no, it's electronics kit. Oh my god. The screwdriver.
So I think that you could get the hazmat to try and kind of tear some limbs off this, which might play better in terms of face adversity with using machinery, roll plus hardware.
Right, I will do that.
Because I have a suspicion force is not your best stat.
All right, that is 5 + 1 is 6.
The AV droid will show you another one of these spiders that's working around the back of this larvae, this maggot. Seems to pause what it's doing and turn back in your direction. You're out of sight of it, and it kind of pauses what it's doing and begins to move slowly on its 7 legs. Back towards around the corner where you are. So there's another one of these things incoming. Let me go to Harper. What do you do?
Seeing how a horrible mess is going, Harper tries to like, okay, stand still. Yeah, okay, I will stand still. Get it off me. And Harper will like really focus on like standing still to get Gemma to like have a good swing at it. And he's like, all these horrible images, the thing like bursting through the suit, like eating him alive or stuff like that.
Because of course he can see very little of this in this because he can feel it, but he can see almost nothing of it. It's a horrible
imagination
sensation.
is like much worse than the reality.
Exactly. So I think what I'll allow you to do then is by forcing yourself to stand still. I'm going to let Gemma do whatever she does next with advantage, because I think that's probably. I'm just desperate to get any kind of success out of you guys at this point. Gemma, what are you thinking?
Yeah, I think they'll just double down on what they were trying to do before.
Because I think what probably happened was that you didn't realize that this carapace is quite solid, and so I'm guessing that you just went for it and the knife skidded off it. So now you've had a better look at it. Could you perhaps pick a weak point? And let's have you roll with combat.
And advantage.
Yes.
One way or the other. Let's see.
Thank God. That's a 6, a 4, and a 2. We've at least got above 3, I think. So that is a 10 plus force.
Yeah. So 2. So 12.
The GM describes the enemy's attacks and actions. Describe how you defend yourself, how you put the hurt on, and how you take them out. So what is it that we see you do that finally ends this thing?
Yeah, I think that when Harper stands still and they kind of backed away for a second after the knife, noticed that like some of like the underbelly of it, was because that one arm moved away to puncture, and they were able to see that like the underbelly was maybe a little more vulnerable, and was able to get the knife into there and like puncture in, and then you see it kind of the arms let loose because of that, and then it comes to the ground, and then she just stomps the hell out of it, I think.
Fine. Crushes it like a large roach. And so both you and Harper have a slow leak from your suits. I think I'm probably going to give you you'll have some patches, but I think
nothing else. There's probably something in the first aid kit.
Yeah, no, spacesuits come with patches. So you patch the suits, just a slap patch. But I think that's a consumable resource. So in my mind's eye, I have a kind of imaginary clock that is using those patches up. And there's huge relief, except Riley, there's another one coming.
So bad news, guys. There's a bunch of these things up ahead, and one of them's headed our way.
Not another one.
Maybe we should go a different direction.
Harper,
so can I ask a question? So we were following the spiral, and the thing dropped down. The maggot-like thing is further ahead of us, going the other way. Okay.
But one of the spiders
coming back
towards us.
The question: if it's spiral, is it like walled from both sides, or are we like next to a huge drop because there's because the inner spiral doesn't have to have like a wall and there's like a huge drop down or a huge way up?
I think we've got a tube that's spiraling because that means that you can't see it can't see you. Mm-hmm. It's only because of Riley's AV drone they've sent ahead just to be able to see this. But what is interesting, Riley, is that at the point that Gemma stomps this thing, the other spider, for want of a better word, stops, turns round, and goes back towards the back of the maggot, this enormous kind of bus-sized maggot.
It must be networked.
You mean they communicate?
That's the most likely explanation for the behavior we've seen.
So what do you do?
Now I am still using based on this image. Maybe there's like a window that I can use to grapple hook us like far above, like faster. and get it like in front of the maggot?
Okay. I think that is such a cool idea that what I'd like to suggest is one of these kind of luminous, bioluminescent panels. When you examine them, Harper, it's not that they are luminous, it's that the space behind them is lit. So they are membranes of some description, the other side of which there appears to be a space that is more brightly lit. What about that as a suggestion? You with me? So you might be able to get into a ceiling space or into the void beyond those panels. Do you want to take a look?
Sure, of course.
I can't but think this is infiltrate. Sneak into an area, recon, gain information, scout layout.
Yes, that sounds perfectly.
So I'm imagining you. Again, I cannot believe that you don't get some kind of utility tool that on the belt of a spacesuit, because it just seems madness to just limit you to the single assets that you've got. So I'm imagining you all have some kind of utility tool, which is a blade, a lever, some useful mechanical tool. So are you going to, slice through this and look, or what?
Yeah, probably Harper's like isn't sure how it's going to react, so he's going to like punch it and then like cut it open, and then like look behind.
Okay, let's have you roll to infiltrate. Roll with, I think this is sneak rather than hack, so roll with precision. Oh, you see, I should have just taken advantage of those other dice. Now we've got 2 6s. So this goes perfectly. What I can tell you is that there is a space on the other side of this, and you are looking out into an enormous void. And you can see, looking up and looking down, that this enormous kind of spiral passage that you're in is an enormous spiral running in this vast city space. And I think it's fair to say that you appear to be in one column with this spiral structure, and in this illuminated space, dimly illuminated, but illuminated nonetheless, you can see lots of other of these structures. So you could either try to move along the outside of your spiral, or you could use the grapple gun to try to get to an adjacent spiral, or you could use the grapple to lower yourself down, or indeed go up in your spiral. What are you thinking, Harper? Oh,
So
Gemma's got a word.
So I just wanted to, so it's kind of like spiraling up. Is that what it feels like?
Imagine a cylinder, yeah, and you are inside a passageway spiraling round the inside of that cylinder. What Harper's now got is a look at the outside of that cylinder. You could go out and up the outside of it, or out and down the outside of it, or you could try to get to an adjacent, because these are spread all the way through this vast space. Yeah?
Yeah.
So up or down this one, if you want to avoid following the maggot, or are you wanting to try to get to another one of these?
I think the simplest answer, not to create more question, is Harper says, okay, I will grapple to the one above us, and that way we can get ahead of the maggot, because it has to go around. So maybe we can like skip like 2 levels and then get inside the tunnel again. And yeah.
Okay. You rolled a 10 on that. You get that, you've scouted the layout, you've got that information. I think that using the grapple gun is now going to be with advantage.
Sure.
Yeah. but I think it's with advantage for a seek opportunity.
Of course.
Yeah.
Opportunity with
Force, I think, labor and traverse.
yes, definitely.
Didn't need the advantage. The 6s came up on the base dice, so that is a 10 plus. You find what you're looking for. You're wanting a change of location. You're going to get that.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm increasingly interpreting this move probably slightly differently from as written, as we discussed last time. So if it's just a question of getting somewhere else, you get somewhere else. I think this whole place is potentially hostile and unpleasant. You're certainly working, without an atmosphere, for instance.
Yes.
And so you're 2 levels up. You're ahead of whatever direction this thing is taking, and the spiral must be several hundred meters across, so it's going to take a long time to catch up to you. And I think it's fair to say that it is brighter higher up, because not only are you getting some light percolating through, but the structure in here is getting brighter itself. So there is a degree of internal bioluminescence now in this corridor. So imagine the corridor behind me, but slightly richer reds, I think, reds and oranges, warmer colors. So you're ahead of this, whatever it is. And carry on in the same direction. And I think at this point, Harper, you will be aware that the spiral is getting tighter.
Mm-hmm.
So it's as if you are moving up this cylinder, but maybe the cylinder is narrowing. So maybe it's a cone, not an actual cylinder. Okay.
Yeah, Harper definitely interprets this as a good sign. We are getting somewhere. We'll see where the somewhere is. So yeah, let's continue.
Let me show you where you get to. Bear with me a moment. Because my preparation today consisted of just looking for some images. You finally arrive at what appears to be a central chamber in this structure. That is, as you can see, luminescent. And I think it's fair to say, based on Gemma's earlier, if this isn't alive, it is creating all the impression of being alive. Gemma, what's your reaction when you get here?
I think they're kind of, I don't know what the right word is exactly, but just a little, I don't know if bewildered is right, but they're just confused, right? I mean, this is very different, and I think they're going to lean on, what is going on to Riley. What is going on? What is this? What's going on? Because it's, Gemma kills things, and so they're just, a little bit like, I'm at a loss for the right word. It's somewhere in between, like, confused, bewildered, something in that space of like, this is kind of unbelievable, sort of.
And we see that on Gemma's face as they look around and, just trying to take this in. And then there's that obvious kind of look to Riley as if to say, explain this to me, Riley. So what's Riley going to do here?
Well, Riley is just so excited. Like, this is amazing. That biological structure on this scale that seems to be related to the slip gates, maybe put there by the same people. Maybe this is a symbiotic system that can natively navigate slip space. It's just the implications. They're amazing. Unfortunately, I still have no idea how to make it do something.
Well, is that the question? I mean, if this is more alive than some of the other bits of corridor or structure you've been working towards, Is that now what this is about, to try and, inverted commas, make it work? Harper?
Yeah, Harper tries to makes a joke. So you are saying that the space maggots create a wormholes for us to travel, yes?
I don't know. Is that, Riley? Is that what we're talking about here?
That's certainly a interesting hypothesis.
I suppose my other question is if Riley wants to try and work out how this works, if this is workable, how is Riley, what do we see Riley doing?
Well, probably one of the first things I do is try and compare what I can observe about the materials that are here with everything that I've learned so far about slip material and slip gates.
I think that's true. I think this is analyze a subject or anomaly, because this isn't technology in the sense you currently understand it. So it is about, is any of this carrying current? Is it giving off any radiation? You've got your electronics toolkit and your data pad, and you've got the hazmat drone to do some analysis for you. So let's have you roll to examine, I think, with mind.
All right. That is a 10 plus 2 is 12.
My game has now finished. It's clear now that I had my fun. Now it's all down to you guys. So what are you looking for? A flaw, weakness, its cause or origin, its purpose or value, its expected behavior? Give me a line of questioning for me.
I'm going to say expected behavior. Like if this was fully working, how would it work?
Yeah, I was thinking something between that and purpose. What is this for? There is energy here. It's clearly it's a nexus for energy. You're not entirely clear where that energy is coming from, but clearly this bit of structure has been designed to either hoard or channel energy. While Riley's doing that analysis, what's Harper doing? Because this is kind of one chamber, but there are lots of kind of bits to it and bits off it. If Harper wants to kind of have a wander about, I don't know. Because this is 100 meters across. This is a big space.
Yes, Harper is definitely has regained some composure, and he thinks to himself, well, if Riley can figure it out, so can I. I'm after all from the future, so all the training and stuff. So he's going to wander off, trying to find something himself, what we can use, because he's also, in his mind, intelligent and brilliant, and from the future.
We know that he has a very self-important view of himself. He is completely confident that he can decipher this,
of course,
just by kind of looking at it. So I'm seeing analyze and decipher in seek opportunity. Roll plus mind.
And it goes 7 plus 2, it's a 9.
Okay, so 7 to 9. What do you want to, if we again use the kind of longer form of the move, are you interested in asking to go somewhere new? Are you asking to face a choice? Are you looking for an antagonist to defeat? Or are you wanting your or somebody else's burden to become a factor here?
I think at this moment in the place we are, I'm really interested in some choices.
Fine. So what the move says is a questionable or unsavory act to test the character's determination to get what they want. It can be physically disgusting, emotionally damaging, socially embarrassing, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so what I'm going to do is say that as you were wandering around this, it becomes clear to you as Riley is connecting, and scanning and doing stuff, that some of the membranes here look almost like walls of jelly rather than walls. And you can see in that jelly, there appear to be, could they be nodules? Could they be control knobs? Could they be, could they be functioning devices? And so the choice you have here is do you reach into the jelly, Harper? This glowing, you can't help feeling some of it has the look of almost clotted blood.
Yeah, I think Harper is like initially, yes, I found something, and then he like tries to put in the hand. Oh my god, it's so disgusting, and he's like sticking to his gloves. Yeah, I have to do it.
And because we're not dealing with a breathable atmosphere here, you're still in your spacesuits. There's no real sensation of touch. There's just the look of you kind of, and there is a sense in which it almost begins to draw that arm in. There seems to be a degree of negative pressure as you reach in for one of these things, and you examine it and you twist it. And the light gets brighter here. And Riley must be thinking, what did I do? What did I do? And then you look over your shoulder and there's Harper up to his shoulder in the wall. Gemma, you've declared that you're bewildered by this, and now you're seeing Riley study and Harper kind of experiment. What do you do, Gemma?
So the light's just gotten brighter.
Something has been triggered.
And so we're in a big space. Is there anything now that the light is brighter? I mean, is there anything more that we can see,
Yes.
Looking around?
Behind some of those panels or membranes or walls of jelly, depending on how we describe them, you can see vaguely humanoid shapes. Now that the kind of level of illumination in here has gone up. And there is a sense in which maybe there is a slight pulse to that energy. What do you do, Gemma? I'm thinking maybe some of these bits of structure down here, which were relatively dim, are now looking more like that. And you can see these shapes in the jelly.
I think they are going to like more. They're going to move up towards one of the ones that has like what appears to be something in it. They're not going to go all Harper and stick their arm in there or anything, but just like more closely, like look at the, more to see what exactly it is. So.
Yeah, that's fine. I think somewhere. You see that? That would seem to me to be a good point to take our first break. So shall we say back at 5 past the hour? Okay, let me pause the record. Okay, back from our break. And just before that break, Gemma sees something like this in one of these kind of jellied compartments. What are you going to do with that information, Gemma?
So have we established earlier that like this is I hesitate to say it this way, but I don't. But this is like a human-centric kind of world, right? It's not populated. This isn't Star Wars where there's every kind of alien. So this would be quite shocking, I'm assuming. Yeah.
This is first contact.
Right.
In a way that the cluster is an entirely human,
Okay.
different cultures, lots of different cultures, different habits, different approaches to stuff, but all genetically humans. And that isn't.
That is not. Yeah. So I think the first thing is obviously they're gonna you know, because I imagine that they're kind of looking at this thing, and as the light's coming up, there might be just a slight shift in the fluid that's in this, and it becomes visible, and I think Gemma jumps back and is like, Riley, because you know it's is there any indication of, other than I just see it, it's not like eyes opened up or anything, it's
no, I thought about that, but I think it's just sitting there, it just in this tank, suspended in this jelly like material, just, you know.
Yeah, so they're like, Riley, I think you need to look at this. So
Riley, and of course we know that the AV droid is recording everything. What do you do, Riley?
Riley rushes over at your alarmed exclamation and sees this. Holy shit.
And of course, Riley, at that point, you look around and you see that there are maybe a dozen of these compartments with that similar figure in each one.
That appears to be a non-human life form. Is this an alien ship? An ancient alien ship? Are these the Slipgate builders? Are they alive in there?
So many questions. Harper, you're still up to your shoulder in this jelly, and when you turned that nodule, more power seemed to come on. Lights came up. What do you do?
So Harper knows that he found something. He found the Holy Grails. Now he can't like really see what it is inside. So at first he tries to like pull it out so that he can like see are the buttons or how to use it. And if that will fail, he will like, even though he doesn't really like it, he will like get in there to see like, are there any buttons there, like how to operate it, because
I love this. Okay, so I think that this is seek opportunity again. I just cannot resist having Harper seek opportunity again with I think analyze and decipher again, isn't it? You're getting your head into this, and you know, we will get a Harper, you know, of this, you know, parting over the faceplate as you lean in, both hands up to the shoulders.
Yeah.
Riley almost certainly doesn't notice that. Gemma might have noticed that you're just over there around the corner. So what do we get on that?
On 11.
Oh wow! So there are other nodules in here, and they appear to be. Now that you're closer to them, I think it's fair to say that they appear to be round mostly. They have 3 approximately equal indentations, and it looks like they don't move back and forth. They don't move up or down or side to side. It looks like they all rotate.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm guessing, do you communicate this over the comms?
Yeah. Luckily, I'm just like in my suit still in this jelly, so I like say, hey guys, I think I found the control seat. It's inside this jelly something, and there are these knobs here to turn. I mean,
and as you are turning them,
of course,
Riley, I think the hazmat drone begins to, you know, just give you a bit of readout that says atmospheric. It appears that pressure is going up in here. It looks like some kind of life support system has been turned on. Gemma, Riley is kind of, wow. You look around, there's Harper now, chest deep in the wall. And I'm guessing from the movement of his shoulders, you can see he's doing stuff in there.
But he's communicated, like my first thought was if I just turned and saw him, they might run over and try to grab him out, because
it's eating Harper. Yeah, exactly.
It was eating Harper. So I don't know that I probably don't know that the pressure is going up. All I know is that Harper's fiddling with things and stuff. And I think they're going to, I'm trying to channel my inner Gemma. Sorry guys, I think she's going to run over and be like, Harper, what the hell are you doing? And grab him and try to pull him out of there. That's what they're going to do.
Fine.
It feels like that's what Gemma would do, in the sense of like you've already woken up all of the soldiers. Maybe let's not do this. So
and unless you hang on to and it's quite difficult to hang on to them, I think, because they're not designed for human-shaped digits. So it will be, unless you really want to hang on to one of these.
I think I'm taken by surprise, and like I'm not like trying to hang on inside there. So Gemma can easily pull me out.
And it kind of comes together, seals itself in front of you, and you're coated in this stuff, which is just stuck to your suit. Riley, what are you gonna do? Where do you begin?
I'm just overcome with things that could be studied. This is amazing. This is everything Riley's ever dreamed of and more.
I think that I am prepared to, at this point, I think, given what you've seen, given your analysis, your success with that analysis, I am inclined to mark the fourth slip matter study box. You have a sudden insight to how slip matter works. And you can use that to roll with advantage in relation to slip matter. Okay, because awesome. you have the kind of paradigm shifting understanding of slip matter that no one else in your civilization has so far had, which might even get you back on the network. But what are you going to do with this kind of, oh my God moment?
I think when I see Harper pulled out of the thing covered in goo, it just like sparks something in my mind. Like, oh, the way that we travel through the alternative physics of the slip dimension are by coating ourselves in a thin membrane of the physical properties that keep our ship from being torn apart. Clearly, these beings came from this other place.
Oh, you suddenly
just starts babbling about this.
Oh, right, yeah. I love that idea that in fact the gate creates after you cross it, so after your sensors become useless, you're coated in a thin layer of slip particles, and that is what insulates you and transports you through this alternative space. And at the point where you emerge, they're stripped away and reused. That's fantastic. That's fantastic. So you understand how slip matter can be used to move ships from one place to another. Gemma, you've got Harper out. And your pressure gauge, you know, on the little indicator on your faceplate is just, you know, showing you that pressure is increased in this space to approximately an atmosphere. So, you know, not unlike what you'd find in any artificial environment at home. What do you want to do with that, if anything, Gemma?
I think the first thing they'll do is they'll help Harper up, because I'm guessing they said, hey, maybe we should just let Riley, you know, before we push any more buttons. But I don't think they're gonna take note of the atmosphere, but they're not gonna take suits off or do anything like that at this point. The other thing, I think at some point here, when it makes sense, they're going to like, I'm assuming, so we came up the outside, but there's an entrance to this room. I suspect somewhere that we would have come up the spiral, and so they're going to, after saying, hey, maybe let's let Riley, you know, see before we push any more buttons, you know, this is kind of their space here, but then they're going to maybe move towards again that sort of defensive mode that they and maybe try to move towards, you know, we've been very fixated on all this stuff, but now maybe it's that the pressures come up, things are changing, so now they're like kicking into a mode of, hey, you know, take a broader sweep of what's going on around, and especially towards where that entrance might be.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I described this as a cylinder that gets to be a cone, and you have reached a space right up here at the center of the spiral, and therefore at the top of the cone. And so it, you know, that spiral goes back down to where you began, and you can go back out into that corridor that that passageway you came through. And I think what you will notice is that I told you that that big space outside these cylinders was illuminated. I think I can tell you that once you get out into the corridor, those panels, those membranous panels that Harper used to get you up a couple of levels and back in, they are now more brightly lit. It feels like there is more illumination outside as well as in this chamber. And that's when two things happen. One, you get a communication from the Cruiser Magnificent saying, Justicia Azrael, you've been radio silent for some time. Status update, please. What are you going to tell Cruiser Magnificent? And just to complicate things a bit further while you're contemplating that, now that there is some atmosphere here, you will get your audio pickups in the suit are now able to pick up vibrations. And the suit is picking up movement in the corridor.
Okay, so I think so they wouldn't be the only one picking that up, or are they picking it up because they're closer into the corridor?
They're in the corridor, and now it is external vibration. It's the air is moving, and I think I would describe it as, don't know if you can hear that, scrabbling.
Okay.
It doesn't take much for Gemma to put two and two together and say that is just the sound that those seven-legged spiders might make moving on the hard ribs of these corridors.
Okay. I think the first thing that they are going to do is acknowledge, magnificent, nothing significant to report, and then just cut that, just stop at that, and then head back, kind of move back into the room and kind of let Harper and, hey guys, we've got company coming. I think those things are coming up the that we ran into earlier are coming up the corridor.
And just to remind you, given that both Harper and Gemma lost some air earlier, you are getting close to your turnover point. You are getting close to the point where you have used about half of your reserves, Gemma and Harper. So to get back to the breaching pod, you are going to have to start making progress in that direction soon, unless you can find a quicker route. Riley, you've got more headroom because your suit was never breached. So that is the situation. Harper, you cleaned off the front of your faceplate, so the world now is smeared with a reddy orange, I guess. What do we see you doing in response to Gemma's kind of emerging from the corridor and Overcom saying, we've got company, guys? And of course, that is exactly the point where you get that little kind of just flashing red number on your faceplate saying, your tanks are about half empty.
Well, I think the only thing Harper can do is to come to Riley and says, listen, I know it's uncomfortable, but I think you need to get inside this jelly. There's like an operation center inside it, and then you can like figure out like how to turn the, I don't know, exit, whatever. I think it will be inside the jelly. I don't know. Otherwise,
yeah, some sort of control.
And now I like notice the aliens in this. Like, oh my god! Excuse me, you were saying?
No, you're right. This is amazing. This is the find of a lifetime.
What are you going to do with the find of a lifetime, which appears to be powering up? And based on what Gemma has told you, it's like all, I told you there were multiples of these towers sitting out there in this enormous internal space in the city ship. Based on Gemma's description of the illumination from those panels is now higher, those windows, it looks like they're all powering up. And that, I think, Gemma, or all of you, because this will be wideband, I think, from Cruiser Magnificent, we are observing energy increases from the city ship. Please advise.
Harper leaves space for Ali to do it because he found the place. He kind of messed up with it. He doesn't know how to really turn it on, so he's just there standing waiting for Ali to figure it out.
Well, we want to not just turn it on, but ideally figure out how to steer it, or at least have it control the local slipstream.
I suppose that's your kind of that's the thing you're looking to do. I am curious, Riley, whether you have any response for the Cruiser Magnificent.
Yes, Magnificent, we're aware of the situation. It's under control for now.
I think, are you trying to put them in their place? Just leave this to me.
A little bit, yeah.
Okay, let's have you roll to impress them when you impose your presence. Roll with force, please, Riley.
Oh boy.
See, this
That
new
is-
dice room cannot do you wrong.
This is 9 minus 1 is 8.
Oh, button 8. So describe how they will see you as soon as you give them something they want. They want, what do you want them to leave you alone and not bother you, I think. Yeah. So
Yeah.
they want to see you as trustworthy and reliable, and you'll be left to get on with it. But they are going to want some kind of technical update.
Right.
Or they are not going to leave you alone. What do you give them? Is there something you can broadcast from the AV droid, the drone, that would you think buy you some time?
So I think I'm gonna start with a very dry report of like, yes, well, the pressure is increased by 5.7.
The only thing I'm going to say is that's going to occupy you personally with time. If you simply set the drone to broadcast its video in real time, that could buy you a lot of time.
That's true.
Because you've been in here for the thick end of an hour now, I would have thought.
All right. Yeah.
Because I'm
we're all
assuming
trapped in
you're
here.
going to want to do.
They're not going to steal my footage.
I hadn't thought about that. Oh my God, that may be far too important for you to let them have. It's gonna. You've got 20 minutes before they see the alien, the spiders. So that would buy you 20 minutes of time if you want to keep any sense of anything alive, inverted commas, on this ship to yourself. For that, they're just seeing derelict corridor.
Right. Yeah, I could send them the old footage.
Yeah. Okay. So you're going to play them the last hour, but in real time. You're not going to give them the whole dump. Fine. So they're going to see it as you saw it. Okay. Gemma, you okay with that, or is there a different response from you?
Yeah, no, I think I'm okay with that. I'm going to step away for 1 second. I got to grab my power cord. I didn't realize I didn't have my laptop plugged in, so I'll just be right back. So continue.
No problem. So I guess, Riley, the question, everyone's looking to you for, we know it works. Make it do something useful. And what would useful look like?
I imagine that the ideal outcome would be that we figure out how to make this thing produce a slip phenomenon that can transport us back out to outside the planet. Or
that would seem logical, wouldn't it? So
at this point, I have no doubt it's capable of such a thing.
Absolutely. That this, could this generate a slip field? Yeah. So I'm thinking that is probably examine, with the line of questioning being its expected behavior. How can I make it do what you are now convinced it is designed to do? I suppose there's an interesting question about, if it could do this, why is it still here? But in terms of how could we make this work, that would seem to be a sensible place to start. Okay, let's have you roll to examine. I think this is, again, subject or anomaly, because it's beyond tech.
Yeah.
So roll plus mind. And this is a slip phenomenon, so you roll with advantage.
All right.
Not that I think you now need it, having already rolled a 9. So that's 10 plus without a pause. So I will elaborate. You are, as now that you know more about slip particles, you know more about slip phenomena. I think that, as well as these kind of visual signs of this thing waking up, you are detecting the generation of slip particles. And you can almost, you're beginning to get some points on the graph from what your data pad's been recording in terms of the density of slip particles reaching some kind of threshold, some kind of edge where it might
I imagine I have a
generate.
good idea about how many of them we would need.
Exactly. I suppose the question is, you have a good idea of how many you would need for the ace, and you also have the scans from the Cruiser Magnificent that strange little independent probe, which doesn't fit in any of these technologies so far. That remains a big question mark. You've got a fair amount of a fair idea of how many slip particles you'd need in this field to, inverted commas, coat the Magnificent as well. That's a lot more than it would take to coat the ace. So we are now at the moral question about, is this about getting the ace out? About getting the ace and the Magnificent? Or also the other Narsen ship, which, as far as you know, is still asleep on the other side of this space. Though who knows what this increase in energy that the city ship is generating, we don't know what effect that might be having on the other ship, whose name for the moment has escaped me, but I will look it up.
I think it was the Bludgeon. Was it the Bludgeon?
The Bludgeon. Thank you. Well remembered. So I think the moral question now is this about getting the ace out? Is it about getting the ace and the Magnificent out? Is it about getting the ace, the Magnificent, and the Bludgeon out? Gemma.
I don't think Gemma, speaking as Gemma, we can't, if we can get anyone, if we can get people out of here, we should get people out of here. We can't leave people to, this is a tomb, right? It's like this whole thing is it's like a tomb. We can't, if we have a way to get people out, we should let them out.
Harper?
You know that on this recording of the drone were like many ships that are stranded here inside this dome, not just the 3 that we identified. There are many more. And didn't you say that this cruiser is like full of hundreds of thousands of super soldiers?
Well, not hundreds of thousands, but certainly tens of.
Harper is very happy to give too much numbers. So maybe let's get ourselves and the guys with the big guns on the outside, and then we can, I don't know, figure out to get back and get the rest out.
Riley.
While we've got a pretty good idea about power source here, it's going to be a little iffy controlling it. It's unclear how many ships it's practical to get out in one go.
So, and the thing is, I think, Riley, is that you're the only person who's got a mental model for this idea of threshold at which, ace, Magnificent, ace plus Magnificent, and so on up. So the terrible thing, Riley, is that whatever you agree, you can spin the data any which way. Because the others have no way of conceptualizing what this threshold looks like or its value.
I think what I'm going to say is, I think we can get the ace and these folks on the Magnificent who are counting on us out, but that's about all I'm confident in. So I think we should just set up the field for those 2 ships.
Because there's also the issue about waking the Bludgeon up. We know it's a significant distance away. And you're right, Harper, you did detect some other, inverted commas, derelict ships in this space on arrival that you've not even got close to identifying. So, Gemma, Riley's made a pitch.
I think Gemma is inclined to trust, and if Riley says that that's what we can do, I think that's their main. We agreed, right? We don't know if there's even anybody alive or on any of these other ships, right? But we definitely know there are people, and I think, when Riley is like, hey, I don't know if we can control any more of this. This is probably the safest thing we can do. They agree. So.
Okay, so the only problem you have is whatever is making its way up the corridors, the passageways towards you, which is whatever it is or whatever they are, they're a lot closer now than they were when you started that conversation. So what's the plan?
So Gemma just kind of had this whole thing is biological and organic, and is it possible, asking Riley, Riley, is it possible that those things are just like maintenance things, right? Like that given that everything else in here is all biological, would it make sense that the where maybe we might have a robot looking thing that went and did maintenance on stuff, could those things just be like, I'm at a loss, with like automata, like
Sure, yeah,
yeah,
absolutely. That makes total sense in a space like this, and the behavior I observed with the larger moving thing definitely seemed like a symbiotic system. The only problem is I don't think they want us here.
Like, right, like, are they seeing us maybe as like
garbage that needs to be picked up?
Right, to be cleaned up or whatever? Is there some way that we could use what you've learned to try to not look like garbage, or to trick them, or something like that, right? So that we could get back to, because I'm assuming we're going to need to get back to the ace. So,
any suggestions, Harper? How could you you're Mr. Stealth here. How could you convince these biological janitors that you are not garbage to be cleaned up?
Harper has no idea about that, but he comes back to where Gamma is standing, and he just takes out his gun and begins creates ice, freeze the entrance. He says, I can freeze the entrance. Will buy us some time. If you can get out the back way. There must be a back exit from here. Yeah,
Just
I will
rappel down the side of this column.
I'll tell you now, I suppose, that unlike all the other bits, this appears to be generating illumination rather than getting illumination from outside. Gemma only noticed that the other pillars were beginning to wake up when they went out into the corridor. So if you want to get out of here, I think you have to go back into the corridor, get out, and go down the outside. That's my feeling at the moment. And because this does not appear to have those kind of membranous portals to the outside, which means that you would have to leave it and have Riley make some assumptions on rate of increase of power up until threshold is reached. Because I think there's a nice kind of tension in that. You know that you can alter the rate of increase based on the panel that Harper found. So you can set it on a path that you hope reaches the right threshold at the point you're back on the ace.
Yep.
We won't know that until you're back on the ace, monitoring the slip particle buildup. What are we going to do? Because I think the only other concern, Riley, you might have about Harper's suggestion of freezing up the entrance is you could get trapped in here. And you're not entirely certain what effect that freeze will have on this, inverted commas, organic functioning.
Yeah, it seems like the least damage we can do on our way out, the better.
So, what are you going to do?
So can we go, Riley? Do you need to be still? You don't need to be here, yes?
Let me just make one more adjustment. Do we have time to make our way out into the hallway and get out to the outside?
I've got a mental clock running on that skittering getting closer.
I will do your thing, and I will secure us the exit. And Harper wants to like stop freezing the space, get out to the corridor, cut the like lighting membrane, and prepare to. We will probably like use the grapple hook to go down to.
Okay, so I imagine you scaling your way down the outside of this cone, and then down to in a set of stages to get back to where the level you think you ought to be at to get to the breaching pod. Fine. Exactly. I love that as a plan. I love the idea that Harper is now sat on the lip of this window just outside the room. And yeah, now you've got a vista off the top of this. And so we now see, and there were some that were too far away in the darkness to be seen. Now they are all glowing. Mm-hmm. These needle-shaped structures in this vast city shape are all glowing at the top. And I think I'd even go so far to say that you think that the glow is spreading down those columns, those pillars. That's the vista that we get from Harper. Riley, you're doing some calculations. Gemma, what are you going to do?
So I was wondering if there, as we're trying to, so I guess what I'm envisioning is that Harper has popped open the way out. Riley's figuring everything out, and that Gemma's kind of trying to secure the situation, maybe a little further down the hallway, just to willing to like her instinct or their instinct is going to be to secure this so that we can get out, and if they have to be the last stand, so that's it. So I'm just wondering if this is a vanguard move around secure, where we could do that.
I think you use secure very precisely there. I think that this is about seizing control of that corridor long enough for Riley to do her thing and clamber up the grapple that Harper has left hanging there, so you can get outside and then pull you up. Yeah?
Yeah.
How do we see you forcefully seizing control of this corridor? Because I think, you're going to take, because at the center, the turns are quite sharp. So, so you will need to go perhaps 50 paces around the corner, around this spiral, towards the skittering with it, is this kind of bang, 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 bang?
Trying to think. The thought I had, and I don't know how, if we kind of, per that conversation where we're like, I think these things might just be automated. They're cleaning things up, they're maintaining or whatever. I mean, the first thought I had, but I don't know if we have anything to do this with, would have been to put stuff down in there to slow it down, right? Like that.
Throw some gloop out into the hall.
Yeah, like where it might stop and do something, but I'm just not sure what I have that because we're out of the place where there's debris and stuff, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So,
debris down the bottom.
Yeah, and so and I'm not carrying anything with me that would be of enough. And if I took my helmet off and threw it down in there, I'm not going to get out of here alive, am I? Because we're going to go back out into
well, you don't know what you're going to go into. So that and to be honest, I think a helmet is not going to delay this.
Yeah. So I think you're right. I think they're going to go as far down as they can, and basically that's what I think. That's probably their only option, is to just hoping that taking pot shots at the little spider cleaner things isn't going to, it didn't, when we killed the other one, it didn't cause a large ship or like broader effect, right? It just as soon as the one died, it wasn't on the network anymore, and so it kept going. So that's what I think they're going to do. I think they're just going to take little pot shots at the individual things, just to try to distract it enough or slow it down enough to give everybody time to get their stuff done.
Okay, let's have you roll with force to secure this this escape plan.
Whoops, looks like is the link for that looks like my link to the dice. When I plug my thing back in, little docking bar I used went crazy, so I'm getting back into the roller.
Okay, I've put the link back in the chat if that's helpful.
Okay, it's the stove exercise use folks one. There we go. All right, so here we go. We're doing this with force, right?
Yep. Oh, you guys, what are you doing to me here?
Well, we decided I think that the way we were going, it seemed to me we weren't just having the season finale. It felt like we were going to have the series finale at the rate we were going.
So that is full success, I think.
Yeah, there's a +2.
Choose up to 2 tactics. Move people in and out, block exits entries, cause damage, harm foes, suppress a threat for now.
All right, so I'm inclined, based on everything we've described today, to block exit entry and move people in and out. But
can I just suggest block exit entries? I think fictionally, I can't see how you can block this passage.
Yeah, so I'm thinking move people in and out, which would be help making sure that everybody gets out, and then suppress a threat for now. And so my thought is that what I'm doing is keeping them occupied, slowing the thing down just enough for us to get out of there.
Because once you start picking them off, what you notice is that as other ones come to those bodies, they pick it up and they take it away. And so I think you create some of that debris you were talking about, that they then take back to the maggot thing to process perhaps. And yeah, so I think you suppress the threat for now, and there's a kind of a gradual retreat. As another bang, back to where Riley has done whatever calculations Riley could do. And Riley, I'm imagining you two are now coated in this goop, because you went in there and were tinkering with this and checking what it was doing in terms of your readouts. Pardon me. And Harper, what do we hear you saying that is encouraging a little bit of hurry up here?
I don't have a tagline. I think it just guys, you guys, I'm running out of breathing space here.
And I think you can see, Gemma is backing up the corridor, bang, bang, bang. Riley still inside the chamber. Gemma's going to be back just below Harper any minute now, Riley. So whatever you're doing, I think you've probably used up the time you had to do it.
Yep.
Okay.
All right. This is my best guess. I ungloop.
So you've set the rate of slip particle development that you think will give you the time you need to get back and get out. So yeah, you've suppressed the threat for now. I see all 3 of you clinging to the outside of this kind of slightly kind of pyramidal upper surface of this tower, and kind of Harper, down the grapple, and then the other ones come down, release the grapple, go down another step. Yeah,
exactly.
Leapfrogging down. I think that has to be around it's kind of infiltrate in reverse, isn't it?
Yes, or the one we used before, the face adversity with.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, it probably is actually face adversity with force. And I'm going to put you on the spot because you are Mr. Grapple Gun.
Exactly. my gun. I'm the guy who falls who falls down first. And there is it. And there it is.
How many's that?
5.
That's so it's a +0. Oh my goodness me. The grapple gets stuck. So you are, you've made your way down the kind of conical bit, and just as you reach the point where it becomes a more or less vertical drop, you can't release the grapple. So I want you to mark the grapple asset as needing repair. You can't use it for the next step. Your options are to hand over hand down the outside of this, or break back into the corridor, the passageway.
But did we move at least one level, or?
No, plenty of levels. I mean, this is several hundred meters across. You've gone a long way down this kind of sloping section.
Yeah, I think if we moved at least like 1 or 2 levels below the adversary that was pursuing us, I think we can like safely get in the corridor and start normal walking. So yeah,
I think that's fine. So break back in and then make your way down the spiral. That I mean, you will have made quicker progress out than you made going in, because you walked all of that spiral. You've cut a lot of that out. So I think there's no chance you're going to run out of oxygen at this point. And I think that, yeah, I'm not going to have you roll again. I think that's plenty. I think that we see you getting back. And yeah, we have to have you drop in behind one of those maggots that's working its way upwards again. And then just make your way away from it. Back to the breaching pod. Yeah. The 20 minutes was up a little while ago, Riley. Did you send them anything else?
I think I'd probably set the footage to cut off just before we find the aliens.
Do you mean by the aliens the spider creatures? Because that was about 20 minutes of video to get you there. If you want to show them that there was anything alive on here, then fine, let it run. Otherwise, you have to cut it.
Yeah, I think I cut it there.
Fine. Gemma.
Do you think we would have, as soon as we kind of made the decision that we were going to include the Magnificent or whatever, I'm thinking we probably would have sent them a some sort of notification that we're exfiltrating the and kind of prepare for it would be like a portal jump, right? I think that's what we think we're preparing for, is some sort of portal jump. We're to let them know that because I'm getting am I getting the vibe here that we set something in motion, right? And we've got to hightail it. Our ship and the Magnificent are going whether we're on it or not, right? That's kind of where we're trying, right? We're hightailing it back. So I think we would have notified them that this was happening as as we're kind of busting our way back to the ace. So.
Which will have bought them. So they'll be busy doing other stuff. They're prepping for transit.
Yeah, they're not really going to care, I think, about anything else other than that we're on our way out of here, we think.
Yeah.
We're on our way out of here. We're confident we're on our way out of here.
And I think Riley has enough science to baffle it, because we know that they're a fighting ship. They're not a science exploratory vehicle of any kind. So I think Riley has sold them this idea. Yeah, the energy spike you're looking at, the energy increase you're looking at, we think it's going to open a gate. A slip portal of some description. So get ready for transit. We're on our way out. Back to the breaching pod. Breaching pod disengages. Back to the ace of spades. We're back on the ace of spades. That would seem to me, because as the breaching pod kind of powers away towards the ace, which is not very far away, relatively speaking, we'll get a vista now of the city ship, and the city ship is lighting up. It's beginning to glow and pulse with energy. And the rate at which it is pulsing is probably imperceptibly getting faster. And that would seem to me where we take our next commercial break. So shall we say 5-minute break, long enough? I'll see you in 5. Okay, back from our last break for our climactic scenes as back aboard the Ace of Spades. I think that almost certainly the Cruiser Magnificent has closed up to the Ace, because it's clear that they are not going to let you out of their sight at this point in the proceedings. If you think you've managed to trigger something, and it does look like the city ship is triggered. I can't remember. How much do they know about what's gone on in real space while they've been entombed here?
I think I remember that we had a scene where we were where we broke it to at least the captain or whoever of what the situation was,
I think
roughly,
give
right?
them a very like clinical, tactical like description.
Yeah,
they're all dead. They're all dead. So.
Yeah. Everyone you ever knew is long dead, and actually you didn't win the Civil War either. So back on the Ace of Spades. I'm guessing Sure Shot and Riley are up at the helm station. Riley, up on the, has put up on the screen all the stuff from your data pad. So now you're reading this kind of and there's bound to be a red line somewhere on the screen that is threshold. And certainly it appears that there is a at the base of this thing down here, that's where the field is developing. And your best guess, Riley, is that that's where you need to enter the slip gate.
Makes sense.
Of course, that the incredible thing is that you're going to have to dive through the field at the surface of the ship. So if you get it wrong, you'll just accelerate into the bottom surface of the city ship. And you're hoping that that's going to be the slip particle membrane that will coat you and move you where you need to go. Okay. I wonder how well your calculations have gone. Harper is sat next to you at the pilot console. Gemma, are you strapped in the kind of habitat, the bunks, or are you down strapped to the wall in weapons control?
I think weapons control.
Okay, just in case. Okay.
Because we could probably stand up against that cruiser if we had to.
So, I think this is where it matters how good that examination that analyzed subject, the anomaly was. How good are your hypotheses here, Riley? Let's have you roll to examine. I think this is with tech or structures now, because I think this is about using the mental model you've got to time the approach right. So you hit that membrane at the point when the membrane threshold reaches the red line. Yeah.
And is this with advantage because it's using my slip stick?
It is. And I think that you are transmitting that, that data to the Cruiser Magnificent so that they can also, follow your trajectory and arrive at that point. Okay. With advantage, roll to examine. Roll plus hardware.
All right.
Oh, will you look at that? 2 4s and a 5. So
that is 9 plus 1 is 10.
10. Kind of threshold, but on a hit, line of questioning, a flaw, weakness, you hit the membrane at the right moment. There is no threat. You get exactly the same sensation you get as when you cross the slip threshold in a slip gate, and you're in there. The difference is that rather than I tell you what, it would be quite good for us to just have a cramped quarters maybe so we can just tot up any yeah, because we haven't had a downtime in ages. So it's not going to be instantaneous as it was coming in, but it's going to be a shorter trip on the way out than you're used to. So let's just check in on downtime bonuses. Sure shot. You did carry your burden for good or ill, because you came clean about the fact that, you know, Future wants all the data. Thank you very much. So give yourself one of those. You have certainly suffered a defeat or a setback today, if not before. You have claimed a victory for yourself or the ship, in as much as you got them in and out up that grapple. Champion an ally and let them shine? I don't know. What do you think?
Not sure.
No, I think that you can transfer those 3 across into your, which I think will give you an improvement, actually. Then Riley, carried your burden for good or ill. Yeah, you have been laboring under the desire to crack the slipstream from the start, no question. You too suffered a loss, a defeat today, so mark that one. I think you certainly have claimed a victory for yourself. Have you championed an ally and let them shine?
Not that I know of.
No, I'm not so certain about that. So you can transfer those 3 across, which will also give you an improvement. And finally, Gemma, carried your burden for good or ill? Yeah, the hard question about the bludgeon or not.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. You certainly suffered a loss or a defeat and a setback. You claimed a victory for yourself. Champion an ally and let them shine?
I was hoping that some of the leaning and engagement with Riley would have
Yes.
on that would be in that space.
I think that's fair. So you can transfer 2 of those across to get a 10, and that will leave you with a with 2 left. So you can erase everything but leave 2 in the ×1 column. Yeah, and each of you has an improvement. So do you want to make that choice now, or wait and see what happens next, Hopper?
No idea about about the improvement. So
fine. Let's see what happens next, and then you can have a browse, perhaps. But then let's do a cramped quarters then. So let's go round to Harper. When you undertake a journey between locations, trapped in tight confines, roll 2d6. I can't. Yours doesn't have your downtime bonus has got nothing to do with cramped quarters, is it?
nothing.
So it's a straight 2d6. 8. Choose a crewmate. Describe a shared positive moment with them. They get to ask about an aspect of your past, your personality, your burden, or your beliefs. Answer truthfully and recover. So you can either repair that grapple gun or recover any stress you may be currently feeling.
So choose a crewmate moment with them.
Who do you want to be the person who asks you a question?
I think Gemma didn't have much opportunity to talk with Gemma about it. Shared positive moment with them. Yeah, I think as we are flying through the slip space, I think Harper comes with some kind of like a beverage drink from our ship fridge of whatever kind, and just talks about this like endeavor, the ship, seeing new spaces and stuff. So yeah.
Gemma, what's your end of that conversation like? Because Harper, we know, is an enthusiast, don't we?
Yeah, I think, Gemma's warmed up from the beginning, and I think is actually able to, where at the beginning when Harper would do his shenanigans, she'd be kind of pissed off about it. But now I think that she accepts the drink, and I think they laugh a little bit about he still even has pieces of the goo and stuff on him, right? And and just I just see kind of a relaxing, kind of a nice moment of just shit, that kind of post action shared camaraderie, right? Where they just, you know, when you go through all those moments and to where your life is on the line at moments and then you're done. Some of it is just sitting quietly together and just, you know, just because you made it, right? And stuff. So
and what do you want to ask Harper about, you know, as it says, past, personality, burden, beliefs, that you pick?
I mean, maybe, you know, they open up a little bit around, like, you know, past, personality, or burden. Maybe a little bit about past, just, you know, just what, you know, the conversation, you know, leans towards, you know, what's your story, right? Like, we don't really know, you know, that kind of something about, you know, I guess I'm giving him the cue, right, to Pavel to talk about something in the character's past, right?
Yeah, because you're right. Apart from a slight obsession with Zandora and cowboy movies, we've learned relatively little about Harper and his background. So, what do you tell us?
Yeah, I think Harper describes his education. It was very formal, a lot of science, a lot of classes, studying for super long hours, and the expectations of everyone to be the best, and like rat race of the students and everyone. And then Harper pivots this to say that he wasn't that he wasn't so much into it, and he was curious about what's outside of future, even though he know it's not so advanced and so cool, but there are some other things, and he doesn't want to be stuck in this in the system. He wants to like go and explore and see the spaces. So yeah, I think he describes his first time he like acquired a ship to go and travel, and his first experience with like stealing stuff, yeah, and then how he made like made a deal with the future that this is going to be his role. He is going to be the representative rather than a scientist.
And that's delightful. Thank you. Let me
Yeah,
move along.
I just think that's great, because I think that bonds them, because it sounds like both of them kind of rebelled or against the structure with which they were, you know, future sounds like another place where they, you know, hey, this is your role, and, you know, this is what we want from you, but you kind of, but Harper kind of, and then Gemma's likes it's getting her wheels grinding a little bit about how they rebelled kind of and outside of the norm, but were able to like set their own destiny with their people. Like, so she's thinking they're thinking, could that be something they could do too, right? Could they still have a relationship with their, you know, but not be so tied to the structure that they ran away from too? That's cool. I like that.
Let's go to Riley and say, what do we see for you at downtime? And again, I can't remember what your downtime bonus is. Get it on first. No, it's a shore leave one, isn't it? Yeah. So straight 2d6.
All right. That is a 4.
Ooh, interesting. Choose a crewmate. Work together to introduce or expand upon a personal conflict, philosophical disagreement, bad blood, or general aggravation that has developed between you. Who's that crewmate going to be?
I think
so out of character for Riley. We're seeing a whole different side of Riley.
I think Riley's gonna pick a fight with Harper about what they're doing with this data.
Like that. Makes sense. Go on. Open the conversation, Riley.
You know, I'm sorry, Harper. I know you have some arrangement with Future about these results, but this is too big. This is what's going to save my career. The universe needs to know about it. Not universe, big U. Like everyone should know.
I completely agree with you. The universe needs to know about it. Listen, I found this idea, and Future is like they are the only ones able to like explore the idea for everyone's benefit.
Oh, sure, everyone's benefit with. Is that what it's called when they irradiate ships in space to find out if their guns work?
Don't trust the plots and rumors. Like, are you going to give this data to your committee? Are there like even scientists capable of like understanding this stuff?
Of course, I'm going to publish all my results as soon as I figure out a broadcasting deal to illuminate the most important findings.
Yeah, and Harper is like really angry with this.
Walks away and cut to Riley encrypting the data. Okay. Let's come last to Gemma. Gemma, your downtime bonus is a cramped quarters one.
Yep. Yeah,
So it says you can choose yourself instead of another character and talk about yourself if you want to. But let's have you roll 2d6 for this cramped quarters. Oh, how interesting. That's a 4. So choose a crewmate or yourself and introduce a personal conflict, philosophical disagreement, bad blood, or general aggravation that has developed between you.
So I am going to choose myself. I'm going to use the downtime burden. And I think after everything that's happened, they are having a real, they're seriously considering leaving with the Magnificent when they get out of they're really torn about, rejoining or using that as an opportunity to try to do something, right? So that's where they're really struggling with, the bonds they've developed with their friends on the crew, but this is a whole nother thing that's been introduced for them. So
do we see you down in your safe space in the breaching pod, having a conversation with the captain of the Magnificent? Oh no, you can't, because you're in slip space, aren't you?
Well, I was going to ask that, and so I think we just answered right that there's no way, but maybe that there is. You see them looking at I'm assuming, we haven't really assessed this, but in the future, like, do we all have like our own like personal little digital assistant type thing?
Yeah.
Okay, I think that you see them looking at videos or things. Maybe there are some communications that friends of theirs had sent them after they left, but they never responded to, or looking at memories and things on this, right? Like, and so it's really creating, you see a scene of them you can tell that they're just really mentally struggling with where they're at right now.
I can't help but go full Peter Jackson here and have shot of Gemma from the left, imagining the conversation you'd have with the captain, and then flip the other side, shot from the other side, conversation with your friends on the Ace. I've decided that, oh no, cut the captain. I can't resist it. So we have a Gollum moment.
Yeah, or actually even you see them, and then there's a cut to a scene where them and the captain, they were talking, and the captain basically saying, there's a place for you on our crew, right? And so that's what's rolling through her head or something like that. So
No, great. Oh, that's fantastic. And then earlier than you expect, the ship alarm goes off, suggesting that you are approaching a slip threshold again. You know, the exit point. So so again, I'm assuming that, you know, we see rushing about Riley and Harper rush into the helm. We see Gemma, you know, kind of sliding down those ladders to, you know, 4 decks down to where weapons control is, strapping herself into the wall alongside the controls, and then emergence. And I have a picture somewhere. I know I had it here somewhere.
Emerging, but where?
Yeah. Cut to real space, where we begin to see this structure forming, apparently, or not forming. And out of the middle of this, we see the ace emerging. To a hail that says, unidentified craft, identify yourself or be fired upon. This is future. And you have emerged through the window, Sure Shot, the window that exists in Iota B7. A man-made space anomaly called the Window explored as a potential for new ways to travel. And that black hole in the middle of Window is where you have emerged. What is your response to that? I think I'll go to Harper first.
Yeah,
In the captain's chair.
Yeah, I think Harper's like really surprised by this, and he goes to the comms. He says, "This is Captain Harper Wilkerson on board the Ace of Spades, arriving from far away."
Now, we have you, Pavel, have described future as a terrifying scientific consortium.
Mm-hmm.
So let's see if they believe you. So let me have you roll to face adversity. When you speak truth or lies, roll with influence, Harper.
Of course. I wonder what will happen there.
Oh, a 12. Rock and roll. Of course, they say, Harper Wilkerson, identity confirmation. Steer towards the beanstalk for debrief. Because you also told us that this thing has an enormous space elevator.
Yes.
Then, of course, the Magnificent emerges. And when challenged to fire, your sensors will get strong evidence that the Magnificent is powering up its weapons and not responding in the same way. This is the Cruiser Magnificent of the Citadel, the Narsen Citadel. We will not power down weapons. Power down your weapons. Gemma, any reaction?
I think so they're gonna ping, you know, we're in different spots of the ship, right? So they're gonna ping Harper and say, yeah, Harper, tell your goons to stand off, you know, do something to you know, to de-escalate this. Or
Harper?
Yeah. I'm like really curious about one thing. Mm-hmm. Do we know if did this civil war happen before the future was even here?
Yes. I think because, this is several hundred years ago, I think we established in the fiction. And I guess that all the corporations in FUTU R&D all existed, but I'm not all on this planet. But I'm not sure future existed.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think Harper goes and comes and says, "Future, this is Captain Harper Wilkerson. Listen, this is an unusual situation. We have found a ship stranded in a slip space, and they are coming in. This is this is the ship from a couple of 100 years ago. They are a little bit, lost in the current events. They probably have no idea where we are or what the future is. We didn't have time to brief them. I suggest maybe not opening fire. They have large guns. Let's explore this opportunity for the scientific purposes."
Okay, I'm very happy to have you roll again. However, this time I think disadvantage because they have powered up their weapons. They are threatening a terrifying scientific consortium.
Yes,
So,
cruiser in our home system, yes.
Roll with influence at disadvantage. Oh my!
That's a 6.
Oh, missiles are a lot, because we've never talked about how the window is created. I'm imagining a ring of some kind of satellites creating a field. And this is the first time it's ever worked in any way. And those satellites are armed and dangerous. And missiles, you will see them on your display streaking from those satellites towards the Magnificent. And of course, the Magnificent will unleash its own missiles. So I think we need to have somebody, I have to come to Gemma because this could be important to Gemma's future. Gemma, I'm going to imagine you are aboard the Magnificent and you are going to be rolling +2 for guns, inverted commas, okay? So face adversity, roll plus hardware, roll +2.
Alrighty.
But I think it's going to be at disadvantage because we've had 200 years of technological advancement.
Okay.
Oh dear. That is 4 + 2 is 6. Am I seeing the same thing? I think that the science, the technological level of future puts them at a significant advantage against. Go on.
So that, I should have said this earlier, I apologize. That stim inhaler thing that I have.
Yeah,
I already used that once, didn't I?
Yeah, I to be honest, I'm using you to roll the dice for the Magnificent, not for you.
All right, that's cool. Okay.
So the Magnificent is going to take a pasting here. I want to know, Gemma, I'm going to put this on your shoulders. Is it destroyed or are there survivors?
Well, if Gemma's on the ship.
No, you're with the Ace.
Oh, you're with the Ace. Okay.
Literally, you've just emerged from slip space.
I think that it's not destroyed. I think they because they're the terrifying future scientific organization, their weapons are pretty hyper advanced. They disabled the ship effectively, right? Like took out its engines, maybe, they were able to, because it's old, they were able to, heck, it might have even been in like some obscure, like I could see it like scanning, finding the record of this old ship, and then you see on the screen, it's like pops up all the little points, and then bing, 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 it hits all those places and just very effectively disables the ship.
And so the Magnificent is just drifting in space, disabled.
Listening. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
The question now becomes, and I kind of, I don't know if I want to role play this or whether I almost want to epilogue you out at this point, because you all have some choices to make. and I'm not sure I want it to come down to a dice roll, if I'm honest. So how do you feel about epiloguing out at this point? Yeah, okay. Well, I think probably, given this is in terms of a timeline almost, I think it matters immediately what Harper does. Then I think that might influence what Riley does. And then we might get to where we see Gemma. Does that make sense? Kind of fictionally. Because I think the early decision is what comes out of the debrief. So Harper, how do you want to epilogue out of this? Because I think it matters what you tell them.
Yeah, I want to give first epilogue to Riley, because I believe that they should decide what the information they want to disclose or not disclose, and then I can like riff off trying to play this way.
Okay, Riley, I inserted encrypting the data at the end of your cramped quarters. So I'm just curious, what's your approach to this debrief going to be?
So I think once Riley's had some time to cool off, they realize there are so many career-making finds that we made on this trip that they can afford to sort of slice a small piece of it off to appease Harper's employers. Like, oh, let me tell you about this interesting gravity field we found.
Fine. So you're prepared to share. Are you prepared to share how you got in there?
Yeah, that seems.
And then some gobbledygook about, and then we sensed a slip portal and we just headed for it.
Just alighting all of the alien discovery in the middle.
I am going to come back to you for a kind of full Monty, but Pavel, does that give enough for Harper to riff off?
Yeah, that's perfect. I think Harper definitely introduces Riley to some people who are not from the universe part, who can like be other scientists to support her or to get into touch or to cooperate with her on this. And he like pulls on his own contacts, the people he know that can help us in the situation. And overall, he wants to play this everything as he's the as he was the brains of this operation. He was the captain of the ship, of this entire crew. And yeah, there are like many stories happening from this, but I think in the end, he's like offered to like lead some other scientific operations, and then he realizes, I don't want to like lead scientific, I don't want to like lead some scientific operations, and even though there was this like all kind of like glory and everything, he just like wants to like run the Ace of Spades.
Okay, I'm good.
And maybe we see the back of the like captain chair on the Ace of Spades, and we see like Captain Harper Wilkerson like on the back of the captain chair.
I'm going to give you a kind of some mechanical options. Do you want to reduce your debt by 2, your debt to future by 2? Do you want to reduce it by 1 and increase your favors to future by 1? Do you want to have future buy off your debt to the syndicate? Or do you want to move the Ace of Spades from scraping by to breaking even?
I think moving I think we can move to like even like well off. If we were like paid like 5, we would like move to like well off.
Unfortunately, the 5 was on the table from the Zandoran carpenters, wasn't it?
Oh yeah.
Who've not figured in the deal.
Yeah, I think moving off to breaking even makes sense.
Okay, fine. I will move you up there to breaking even. So that is reflected by everyone now having a named chair. the ace has had a bit of a refit. Okay, let me come next then to Riley. How do we see Riley's epilogue playing out, given the context we got to so far?
So I think after all of these meetings with Future and everyone, Riley is gonna try and pitch the big discoveries to get themselves back on the air and become a celebrity again.
So, this is a big to the authorities cluster net
Yes.
network. So I think mechanically the way we can play that is, do you want to reduce the debt you owe to the Central Committee by 2? Do you want to increase the favors they owe you and then cash in both favors to get that cluster-wide network fix? Or do you want to have the Central Organizing Committee buy off the syndicate?
I think I will take the favor option.
Fine. So that leaves debt where it is.
Mhm.
Favor would go up to 2, but you are now a net celebrity again. Yeah. And the syndicate are still curious about a certain Riley Perihelion.
Yep.
Let's come last to Gemma. Gemma, where do we see you in our epilogue?
All right, so I've been thinking about this so I think what we see is there's probably some negotiations that have occurred, and there's between Future and the Magnificent and the and they're gonna kind of grudgingly kind of allow them to part ways. And so I'm thinking about, like, as a season ends on a show or whatever, like, you see some seeds here. Like, I think while everybody's going around, you saw Harper with the chair on there or whatever, and then Riley has the got the stuff going on, and maybe there's whatever, but then you pan and you see that Gemma's bunk her stuff is gone, and then you see her a scene of her or them on the Magnificent assisting. Like, I just see all these people, like, working to repair the ship and doing stuff, and them kind of so leaving you with the sense of, well, are they coming back? Are they not coming back? And that's the epilogue I like, is that the viewer is left wondering, did they go and leave and join them, or are they just, you don't know,
just helping out? Yeah. Love it. And I think then, again, just to give us our next season starter, I think my epilogue will be cut to the belt in Ferren 50, where the syndicate, this rapacious criminal network, and I think we'll probably see a group of people in a darkened room. It's illuminated in the center of the table, and someone has got some photographs of the 3 of you. And it is probably I've forgotten their names, the guys from Oasis, who are passing these still images taken from the security cameras at Oasis, saying, yes, on each of them, we will pay the going rate. And then roll titles, come back next season for the cluster. Okay, let's do a quick stars and wishes, and before I finish the recording. So great, yeah, a man in control of his screen icons. I can't wait to find out if that appears on the recording. Very cool. So let me go back round and start. Pavel, any stars? I suppose roses and thorns, given we're at the end. Reserve system thorns we'll have a quick off recording debrief on that. But in terms of roses and thorns, off you go.
I really like that we found the aliens of the universe. The scene with the bug was like really fun when everyone was trying to like get it off me. It was really fun. I really like that Gamma get to decide what happens with the cruiser Magnificent. I really liked how it was disabled by super advanced targeting. I really like how Riley finally got the big discovery they wanted. Overall, it was a cool exploration session, and us moving down the inside side of the ship by jumping on the corridors. It was really cool. I guess the only thing I was a little bit lost is that we were in this control room and I didn't really know what to proceed on, who can like decide to, like, when we find out how we get out. I was a little bit lost over there.
Well, let me just say that I think the way to find out is to just literally launch yourself in.
That's what I did, because I decided that this is the time to do it, to get into cockpit.
Because I'll be honest with you, I had no idea. I was entirely at your mercy, guys. If you decided to just stand there and look at it, I was lost. So I thank you for that. Let's move along.
It was
sorry,
awesome that we came back through the window and that we finally see the system of the future.
I will admit that had been in my mind last time, that window ought to have some kind of part of this, because it was the planet that we shoulda, woulda, coulda gone to and we didn't. So awesome. Thank you. Great. Any roses, any thorns?
I thought we had this a really fun adventure. I liked our escape through the slipstream. I'm glad Riley got to have their big scientific discovery and understanding of how slipstream worked. I liked Gemma having to struggle with this choice of what they want to do with their future. And Harper just diving face first into a jelly-filled control room.
Yeah, love that.
Yeah,
love that.
That's awesome.
Any thorns? Better ifs?
Not that I can think of.
Okay, thank you for that. I was very pleased with that, and I like the idea that the network, that's why the ship is now breaking even, because the network is kind of providing a little stipend so you can continue to travel the cluster and be Riley Perihelion reporting today from. I love that. Gemma, what Joe, what about Gemma? Any roses, any thorns that you or Gemma want to offer?
I just roses again. I think everybody's kind of said everything. It was a great session, great series of sessions. I like Alan, the bringing it back to future. That was pretty cool. Because you're right, we'd been like, we wanted to go there, but we didn't go there. So that was pretty cool. Both Gray and Pavel, the characterizations were great. I liked how they grew into things, and I'm pleased that I feel like as a group, for the most part, everybody got to explore like their niche, I guess, is what you know what I mean. I thought Alan, you especially, because you're guiding us, but all of us, that we managed to do that, and that was great stuff. And then I don't really have any thorns other than I would love to play season 2, right? Like I tend, and this is a personal thing, I tend to like campaigns, right? I like to keep going, and so that would be my only thorn is stopping. So
I know what you mean. It's very interesting. Normally on the Gauntlet I run 4 or 5 sessions. Mm-hmm. This one was pitched at 8, we got 7, and it did feel there was a bit more space You know, it wasn't quite as kind of running to get to the end. So my rose, it would be to all of you for kind of committing to 2 months worth, because that's a big commitment on the gauntlet. So roses to all of you for that. I thought that gave us the space to get some arc movement that didn't feel like, you know, you were rushing towards cramming something in. I did like the fact that and this may be drifting into our any discussion of system, but it did feel to me that in the end, the playbook moves, if I describe them as that, did kind of create those niches that meant that there was very little overlap between those niches, and it kind of meant the spotlight was very distinct and special. So that worked for me. Thorns, yeah, I'd quite like to do season 2. I don't know if or when I can we could do that, but I think if I do, I will come to you 3 first. But yeah, no, that was good fun, and I think the cluster has more to offer us. So with that, I'm going to stop the recording, and there we go. Say bye bye to the internet.